Remember history! Follow tradition! Regulate art! Guide the true path! Remember!
A pause. We need a pause here.
Isn't that Senator Hades? Why aren't we protesting at her directly?
She was the one who proposed the Reformation. You think she'd even deign to look us in the eye? She clearly looks down on the fact-finding committee. We're only here to march this time. Don't go off script.
If a reformation doesn't shake things up, it's either hollow at its core, or veiled by a veneer of stability. Trauma, anxiety, confusion, disorientation. Can you feel their displeasure, Hera?
With no sense of security, they huddle together for warmth and speak in a voice that, though unified, is not their own. They recoil into the cocoon of the past, yet blame the clouds for obscuring their sunlight. Sympathizing with those who pave the path to mediocrity with their bodies is a luxury I can't afford to have.
In their arrogance and idleness, they'd rather bind their own limbs than face the future. They have no one to blame but themselves for falling behind. However, Hera, Amorphis doesn't require anyone to become a sacrifice.
For those who lose their way in the darkness but still have a heart for true art, I would not be disinclined to guide them back into the light. Every moment of epiphany adds a touch of elegance to Amorphi's crown, and thus such an effort can hardly be taken as a waste. Chloe?
Oh! I'm so sorry, Lady Hera. My mind wandered. Where was I?
You mentioned to me that you're the daughter of the pyrotechnic designer Clement, and told me the story of his mishap in the show.
Oh, yes. Many people were injured in the explosion, and the Society of Fireworks has hated ground fireworks shows ever since. Not a single person from the Society came to see my father in prison, not even in his final days. They refused to acknowledge his art to the end.
And I suppose that's why you're seeking certification from the Society of Muses.
Yes. I have also heard that the Society of Fireworks has joined the fact-finding committee. They reject anything that doesn't conform to tradition.
Indeed. Your work is but another attempt of defilement to their tradition, amidst other hideous forms of new arts that they hold in detestation since the Revolution.
I've reconstructed all of my father's designs. All I need is the chance to be certified.
Near-ground deflagration shell fireworks, if I recall correctly. The explosion lifts the fireworks device into the air, whereas the display results from the device burning and changing shape.
Yes, Lady Hira. It integrates mortar rack fireworks and display shell technologies.
A decent experimental idea. My only complaint would be the name. Have you ever given it a second thought?
The name was my father's idea. I don't want to...
It's all right. Names hardly matter when it comes to certification, so pay it little mind if you have to. Though, have you really not grasped the situation yet? The Society of Muses only appraises unconventional art. You maintain your craft to be fireworks, and I don't see any reason for you to seek our certification.
I see.
Has Oneiroi not returned yet?
Everard's organizing another student art show. School isn't out yet.
Senator Hades?
First time at the Society of Muses, huh? No need to be on your toes. Hira, have you decided on the featured exhibits for the salon this month?
A little more time, if you would allow. Though I don't recall the Art Society's roles during the first salon. What made them change their minds? Right now, anyone with a modicum of confidence is preparing for all the art appraisals available to them. Few people have approached the Society for certification at all this month, much less those who came with fair work for display.
Oh, in case I've forgotten to mention it, it's not a formal invitation, so it doesn't matter if we abstain.
Oh. I'd like to see it at least in our charter, formal or not. Hades is not available to offer her help. If there's anything you wish to say, speak freely. Have you heard of the Salon? An association it is that requires no certification to participate. Rather than professional judges, the audience is invited to vote for art pieces worthy of an award. The next salon starts in 10 days, if that interests you.
Oh, I see.
Since you don't believe the Society of Fireworks would do your work justice, why not test your fortune at the salon? For an artist, an award from such events holds no less than acknowledgement from the Society.
That's true, but my father's certifications for ground fireworks were revoked after the accident. Even if my father might not be forgiven, I want to at least bring back the recognition that ground fireworks deserve.
Mm-hmm. Is that all? Then I'm afraid my hands are tied here. You may see yourself out.
That's what Lady Hira said to me.
Young people these days don't know anything. You've never heard of the Clement explosion incident?
I have, but that was years ago, right? And didn't Clement die in prison? How are there still people making crowned fireworks?
That's Clement's daughter. She came here once 2 years ago, but her work doesn't hold a candle to her old man's. Clinging to junk like treasure. She's practically begging for humiliation.
I warned you 2 years ago to stay away from your father's leftovers. You ignored my warning. Fine. But then you ran off to the Society of Muses. Fireworks may not be popular art, but an association that corrupts the traditional ethos like the Society of Muses does has no business appraising it.
Please, Quentin, I implore you to take a look. I've double and triple checked Father's design. Nothing like that will ever happen again.
Look. What are you asking me to look at? That explosion injured more than a dozen people. Do you think anyone will accept ground fireworks again after that? I can forgive Clement after all these years we've been through as friends, but can you say the same for the society? The art world? What's wrong is wrong. It's useless to keep dwelling on it. Now, go home.
But...
Such a stubborn girl.
Mr. President, that girl, Chloe, just how are her pyrotechnic skills?
She learned her basics more or less from Clement. Why? Are you interested?
Not in anything so vulgar. Perhaps her work can find its place in a comedy show, but not at the fact-finding committee. That said, if something like this is at all serviceable, we'd still want to see its value put to good use. Rest assured, Mr. President, the proposal will go exactly the way you're hoping.
It's so dark now. Where else can I go? Maybe people would be able to accept ground fireworks in a few more years. Yes, I just have to try again in a few years. But that's such a long time. Clinton?
Yes, Chloe? I'm looking for you. I was too harsh before. Everything I said was to keep up appearances. Don't take it too personally. Do you still want to be certified by the Society?
You'll help me? For really?
I'd love to if I could. I may have nominally studied ground fireworks with Clement back then, but only he knew the core techniques. If you want to vindicate your father's legacy, I certainly won't stop you. You'll have my full support, but as the president of the Society of Fireworks, I must take responsibility for all certified pyrotechnic works. People need more than a few years to forget about the pain that accident has brought them. The more painful the experience, the deeper it's embedded in their memory. I could forgive you. The entire Society of Fireworks could forgive you, but without Omorphi's forgiveness, there'll be no escaping the past.
I never thought about it like that.
You're so anxious that you're ahead of yourself. So was Clement. That young lady Hera did get one thing right, though. Time has changed. An association certification isn't the only path to an artist anymore.
You mean the salon?
Correct. The salon's not a bad way to go. Winning an award there means you've earned the public's approval. Then, all you have to do is reattempt certification.
But you say win an award.
What good is a work that can't even win an award in a competition where the bar's practically on the ground? It's settled then. I'll be responsible for organizing the fireworks show for the salon's opening ceremony. When you're finished with your fireworks, send them to the Society. I'll have them arranged in the program to increase exposure a little.
You'll really do all that? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Quinton. I'll give it everything I've got.
The puppet show has begun.
Blazing bright. This is where stand clear. You have long lost your way.
Shoddy little puppet.
Come, thunder.
Surrender your body and your soul. The end was doomed long ago, as expected.
Grotesque art! Out of the salon! Art societies for the artistic judge! This gathering is over. Now I require your cooperation in restoring the streets to their former peace.
You should be pointing that blade at those who seek to take the artistic order down to the ground with them, Knight! Not at me!
I understand what you're saying, but right now, you're the one plunging social order into chaos. Please refrain from engaging in further radical behavior.
If you have justice in your heart, don't sit idly by while Amorphis falls once again. We are already on the eve of an age of darkness. Only the revelers are blind to the threat looming over the arts.
Was there any damage to the Society of Muses?
No. They were here to change our minds, but the pressure of public opinion will have them change theirs if vandalism had occurred.
Good. The Knights of Convallaria have received a number of reports recently concerning people in possession of prohibited and dangerous materials. The fact-finding committee is likely involved. My greatest fear now is that these marches turn into armed conflicts. I've already confirmed the activities of fact-finding committee members and the other associations with them. Shall I confirm the list for you?
Surely they wouldn't come to our den of traitors to tradition to involve themselves in a third-rate association that no one asked for.
You needn't pay their rhetoric any attention.
Do I look upset to you? As an art critic myself, I'm hardly a stranger to their slanders. But if they keep bringing that racket to our front door, I won't stand for it.
They've been warned. Besides, the Society of Muses wasn't their sole target. The first salon put forward many artists who weren't association certified, as well as some more unusual art forms. The fact-finding committee's aim is to boycott these emerging arts. The next salon is right around the corner, but their sporadic protests aren't making a difference. That's why they organized this massive march, so they could draw more attention to their cause.
A ragtag gang of scoundrels. Why the Society of Muses? We have never organized an exhibition before.
Their leader said it was a spur-of-the-moment decision. Many in the fact-finding committee have a more traditional, old-fashioned mindset, and the Society of Muses is hardly exempt from their preconceived notions. It's a highly inflammatory organization, a forum for all sorts of anti-Reformation sentiments. If an artwork that deviates from tradition is promoted, they'll protest it. For instance, the Society of Fireworks has provisionally added a ground fireworks performance to the fireworks show. They've denounced it on the basis of its medium, as well as the accident this kind of performance once ended in.
Ground fireworks? You mean Chloe?
That's the artist's name, yes. Do you know her?
She came to the Society of Muses a couple of days ago seeking certification, if my memory serves me well. Which reminds me, I'd like to check something at tonight's rehearsal.
If you intend to see the ground fireworks, I must advise caution. While the incident with Clement was truly just an accident, I've heard that Chloe has completely replicated his design. There's no guarantee a similar incident won't happen again.
You can save your warnings for the Knights of Convallaria and other audience members. If the explosion proves to be more destructive than Ladin's attacks, we will have Chloe's talent shine elsewhere, namely, handling the Visbanes. Speaking of talent, Athena, you turned down the Society of Music's invitation to perform at the salon?
As I've made it clear to the Society of Music many times, I'm the commander of the Knights of Convallaria now. I will not be participating in any association's plans. Besides, I'm responsible for security at the salon. I can't be on stage performing.
Just as I expected. You care for nothing other than the Knights of Convallaria. You're neglecting your duty as an artist by letting your talents go to waste like that. If you'd show the world your gifts, I just might acknowledge you as a bona fide lady.
I shall take it as a compliment.
Excuse me?
If there's nothing else the Knights of Convallaria can assist you with, I shall take my leave.
Oh, that's a lot of reporters.
Relax. If dealing with reporters isn't your forte, I'll handle them instead.
Thank you, Quentin. It still hasn't started yet?
Big events have their proceedings. Patience, child.
Lady Hira!
It's all thanks to her that you got a second chance. If she hadn't declined to certify you, tonight's fireworks show would not be featuring ground fireworks. At least that girl has some sense in her. She'd be out of her mind if she agrees to certify anything like fireworks.
I see. I'll go and thank Lady Hira properly after the show.
Well, greatness is only achieved when we let go of the past. And I guess you're right on that part. It's starting soon. If you want to make great fireworks, it's also important to learn to appreciate them.
Without further ado, we'll commence this evening's grand occasion with a fireworks show. Together, we will behold the future of the arts.
Everyone's fireworks are so amazing.
There's a vast world of traditional fireworks techniques awaiting you. If you're willing to learn, just come and join the Society of Fireworks. I could instruct you. Your work would be just as good as theirs.
It worked!
So, these were ground fireworks? Not half bad.
Outdated tricks, that's it. But I must admit, it took some skill.
It really worked!
That was more successful than I'd imagined. How does it feel to be the topic of everyone's conversation? Nice, isn't it?
I was just one contributor to the fireworks show. I'm just glad that everyone enjoyed it. The other fireworks stopped once the ground fireworks were lit. Did you plan it that way?
Who else? The ground fireworks display was good, but it was too quiet. If other fireworks were set off simultaneously, would anyone have even noticed the fireworks going off on the ground? That's the reason I gave up on ground fireworks. At the end of the day, fireworks are an aerial art. How enchanting can those lights and sounds be without that aerial stage?
Of course Quentin would say something like that. As a Galvani, he comes from a long line of traditional pyrotechnic artists. His grandfather was the pyrotechnic designer for the first Artists' ceremony. You'd be hard-pressed to get him to acknowledge a craft that wasn't passed down in his family.
Mr. Galvani, as a fact-finding committee judge, what are your thoughts on the salon this month?
I am an artist first and foremost. I only joined the fact-finding committee to serve as a voice for my community. The salon has given us many opportunities to showcase our work, and for that, it of course has my approval. However, as an heir to traditional pyrotechnic arts, I've always taken an encouraging but prudent approach to emerging art. The salon is giving the opportunity to exhibit work not only to artists, but lay people lacking a systematic view of art.
You aren't the least bit bothered by his statements?
President Galvani, he's helped me a lot. His criticisms do make some sense. It may have just been an interlude in the fireworks show, but I'm already really pleased that everyone could see and acknowledge my success.
A success? Is that how Quentin marked the performance as well?
Yes. President Galvani said it was more successful than he imagined.
I hardly agree. Was that your thought as well? Do you believe that you've already succeeded with that work of yours?
No, of course not. It was only a rehearsal, after all.
I'll rephrase the question. Do you see your current work at its finest? Did it fulfill your highest expectation? If that whoosh of a performance would be a success to you, then you've already failed.
I don't understand. Did people not like the ground fireworks?
They liked them, naturally. When an audience is presented with a new toy that isn't terrible, they'll be elated to have their sense of curiosity satiated. However, art is to sate people's aesthetic needs, not their fleeting curiosities. Your display was acoustically earth-shaking, but lacking in substance. Over-reliance on the device designed for monotonous and mechanical flame configurations has led to insufficient integration with the natural stage and inadequate exploration of colors. Overall, it was prosaic. No, one could even say it concludes itself with an anticlimax at the end without even an attempt in impressing the audience. And what was that final explosion? An AGI mecha's self-destruct sequence? Ephemeral beauty is to dazzle, But what you created and destroyed in 5 seconds was nothing more than a shiny object. Art isn't about displaying your technical skills, nor is artistic innovation merely some childish game that can be won with novel ideas alone. Labeling your work art yields you nothing when you fail to understand that. Now, any other affairs of yours that require my assistance? I'd be very grateful if you can spare me from your thank you for declining to certify me. I scarcely did anything.
You haven't mentioned ground fireworks so far in the interview. What are your views on them?
As everyone probably knows, I also dabbled in the study of ground fireworks back then. However, since they possess no evident superiority to rack fireworks, but insurmountable safety issues, I ultimately abandoned them. However, it has been a trying task to assess this immature, unstandardized technology. I'm also not deeply familiar with the technology that Chloe is using, and it's difficult to reach a conclusion on its safety from the perspective of traditional art. Therefore, it's currently in a trial and observation phase. Should ground fireworks be proven yet again to pose latent safety risks, the Society of Fireworks will certainly play an utmost active role in addressing the issue. We would never allow anything that threatens the security of Amorphis to be hailed as art.
Are you all right?
Yes. President Galvani must just be saying that to keep up appearances. Thank you very much, Lady Hira.
Whatever for?
Your feedback. I'll make my fireworks even better. When the show officially begins, I'll be honored if you can present yourself once more.
The real show is in a few days. Be on your way if you wish to make improvements.